What a strange day yesterday was. The 45th President of the United States of America, Donald Trump, is now a criminal defendant. Mostly his opponents remain terrified of him, terrified to speak out and condemn his atrocious and reckless behavior with America's gravest military secrets. After he was arraigned by a federal magistrate, Donald Trump proceeded to a restaurant in Little Havana called Versailles, where he was cheered by the patrons for his 37 criminal counts. He didn't eat there, though. He got a bag of McDonald's to go, brought it on the plane, and flew back to his golf club in Bedminster, New Jersey. There, he spoke to the MAGA faithful and his staff. Now, before listening to the words, there's a couple of things to remember about yesterday's historic farce. First, the media far outnumbered the protesters. Two, the protesters, such as they were gadflies, freak shows, people with nothing better to do than to dress up like Uncle Sam or as convicts and jump in front of the motorcade. It wasn't a representation of the broad public opinion in the United States. Donald Trump flew back to Bedminster, New Jersey. Here's my advice. Don't look away. Take everything that Donald Trump says here literally and seriously.
This is called election interference and yet another attempt to rig and steal a presidential election. More importantly, it's a political persecution like something straight out of a fascist or communist nation. This day will go down in infamy, and Joe Biden will forever be remembered as not only the most corrupt president in the history of our country, but perhaps even more importantly, the president who, together with a band of his closest thugs, misfits, and Marxists, tried to destroy American democracy.
Do you know what this is? It's a declaration of war against American democracy, against the American election process, against the American judicial system. Donald Trump is making it clear. He wants to obliterate what he calls the deep state, what his supporters call the regime, what the rest of us call government of the people, by the people, for the people. You see, Donald Trump is going to smash everything to bits so that we can be free, so that he can protect us. 7 years after Donald Trump came down the escalator at Trump Tower and announced his candidacy for President of the United States, all of the pretenses are gone. Every one of them. He is perfectly clear. Let's watch this crowd cheer as Donald Trump calls, effectively, for an end of the United States of America and the American way of life.
I will appoint a real special prosecutor to go after the most corrupt president in the history of the United States of America, Joe Biden, and the entire Biden crime family. Name a special prosecutor. And all others involved with the destruction of our elections, our borders, and our country itself. They're destroying our country. And when I'm reelected, and we will get reelected, we have no choice. We're not going to have a country anymore. I will totally obliterate the deep state. We will obliterate the deep state. And we know who they are. I know exactly who they are. They want to take away my freedom because I will never let them take away your freedom. It's very simple. They want to silence me because I will never let them silence you. They want you silent. And I am the only one that can save this nation because you know they're not coming after me, they're coming after you, and I just happen to be standing in their way, and I will never be moving.
Donald Trump loved the book of speeches by Adolf Hitler that he reportedly kept on his bedside for years and years and years. A current theme in Hitler speeches, which is what we just saw in this Trump speech, is the idea that Hitler alone could save the German people. He was their servant. He fought for them. It was perverse, and it was all built on a foundation of lies. In fact, the theory was the bigger the lie, the more believable it is. And Trump's lying here is fantastical. It is remarkable. It is fucking stupendous. In fact, it is not Donald Trump who is the fascist. It's Joe Biden. Now, here's the truth. And apparently, no one has ever wanted to say this to Donald Trump. You lost. You lost the presidential election decisively. You lost the support of the American people because you are a horrifically bad president. And you were one of the few in the history of the country who was removed from power after only one term in office for gross derelictions and incompetence and nonstop lying. Now, the national media can't figure this out. It can't figure out how to cover Donald Trump. CNN scored their own dramatic music for the arraignment. It was quite a thing to listen to it at 10 o'clock. The anthem spreading out over the coverage. How nice. The simple fact is this: Donald Trump is a threat to our children. He is a threat to our liberty. He is a threat to the oldest constitutional republic in the world that he disdains, that he despises. He seeks retribution. Let's look at what his daughter-in-law-to-be said.
Ladies and gentlemen, leaders and fighters for freedom and liberty and the American dream, the best is yet to come.
Retribution, revenge. Against who? Well, against all of the American people who defeated him, who took power away from him. This disordered personality, this sick person, for 7 years has paralyzed the United States of America, has paralyzed the American way of life. It is time for the American people to end this, to stop it. The media won't do it. It is incapable of doing it. And if they could, they wouldn't, because he's a billion-dollar business. The American people deserve decency in their leadership. They deserve serious people, not mentally addled ones. This sick speech is a declaration of repudiation against the American way of life. It declares Donald Trump's ambitions to be something that we have never had, a dictator. That's what he wants to be. He wants to tear it down because he's angry that he lost. And so there he was on his 77th birthday, after a lifetime of practicing his philosophy of fuck youism, a criminal defendant arraigned in federal court, brought low by his own choices and his own misconduct. These used to be central tenets to the idea and ideals of conservatism, the tenets that were the core of a philosophy of personal responsibility. The government did everything it possibly could to persuade, to induce Donald Trump to return what did not belong to him. State secrets, military secrets, war plans, battle plans, an assessment of our weaknesses, our allies' weaknesses. All of it passed about Mar-a-Lago like it was a child's toy. Outrageous. Everything that Donald Trump has said in these remarks is a lie. Each vicious lie compounding on the thousands and thousands and thousands of other lies, now accumulating to a threat against the future of the country. And let's talk about that country. When the British Army came to Boston in 1775 to arrest and part Sam Adams, what did the colonists do? They stood on a green, they lined up, and they fired at the most powerful army in the world. The shot heard round the world, the beginning of the American Revolution. For years, Donald Trump and his pack of MAGA liars have told millions of Americans, citizens of a revolutionary country, that they live under an illegal occupation by a criminal and corrupt regime. This will trigger violence. This will incite chaos and tumult. And it has happened not because Trump was strong, but because everyone around him was so weak. Just as was the case in the 1930s. Fascism didn't rise because it was strong. It rose because democracy was weak and decrepit. Trump has risen because our society has grown weak, soft, and apathetic. The American people don't deserve Donald Trump. The overwhelming majority don't want Donald Trump. It's simply not true that half the country is for Donald Trump. Donald Trump is the leader of a faction, a minority, that seeks power because Donald Trump wants it. The American people should reject this. And Joe Biden should wake up about the threat. Taking a vow of silence about this is foolish, and it won't work. American democracy is an idea, and that idea is under threat. And that threat must be talked about every day. And not just by Chris Christie. The American people should understand, if Donald Trump takes the White House, if he takes power, our democracy is all done. It will be gone. And it will take a long time for it to get back. This country has wasted nearly 10 years on Donald Trump and his sick show. It's time to move on. Thank you for watching. Make sure you subscribe to our channel so you never miss a video. Also, for more content just like this, please consider joining our Warning Premium community. You can find out more in the description below.